and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Flux Motorsport TV. You join myself, the console, for round one of the GT3 season, and boy, have we got a grid and a season lined up for you. So, we kick off the season out in Dubai GP Autodrome for the first time this season. We are going to come back here twice later on. So good, we fancied it twice later. This is the grid for our race, all to play for into turn one, I expect. So Bruce Law takes the top spot in the Ginetta, Linga Bazinga in second in that red McLaren, great pace from him. Snarling Bongo takes third. Both McLarens that high up, which is good to see. Good friends as well. There'll be no love lost between them two. Wadge just missing out on that third spot in the BMW in fourth. Immortalis sitting just behind him. Blank file in that yellow Bentley. I don't think I've seen him sit that far back in qualifying in a long while, so a little bit of work to make up in that Bentley just yet. Jack de Mendes takes 7th place in the Ferrari. Dr. Potford back in 8th in the NSX, but we've seen great consistent drives from him during the race, so expect that to change up as the race progresses. Chris getting that Lamborghini up into the top 10 in 9th, and Tibby rounding out the top 10 in that R8. CDN in the other Lamborghini, he holds out 11th place, joined by Mays in that orange AMG, TGS in 13th in the M6, and Survivor and Flush and Green Gaming at the back of the pack there, both the 2 Chrome Z4s and another R8. I think the most action is going to come from the middle of the pack in this race. Just looking at who's actually back there. So we look from 6 down, Blank File Jack, Dr. Potford, Chris, Tibby, CDN, TGS is back there as well. Survivor, Flush and Green as well. They're going to be battling out. I think we're going to have action split up across the whole race here as the pack splits out and gets into its groove and groups. So here we go then. The race in turn 1 begins. Lights out. Bruce getting off the line amazingly. Linga Bazinga not having a bad start either. Immortalis is flying up the middle. He's going to have to be careful not to make contact. There's got 3 wide. Wadge holding on the inside with that BMW M6. Look at Bruce running away there. Looks like the Fox and the Hounds. Wadge making a move up the inside. He holds it and takes over second. Immortalis just losing it around there. He's going to drop a lot of paces there. Damage is on. It looks like he collects a few cars for good measure as well. He's snarling getting off the track back there. Let's just cycle back a little bit. Jack currently holding on to where he was in the beginning. Maybe made up a couple of paces. Mays is jumping up the pack as well in that orange AMG. Let's try and work out who marked in that incident. It looks like Immortalis, Blank, CDN and Green Gaming fall victim to the spin from Immortalis there as we jump up. So Linga not letting Wadge out of his size. They come down the back straight into this very tight hairpin, late on the brakes. Linga pushing Wadge to the outside. You have to do very well not to make contact. Wadge running a little wide. Linga's going to get the run on the outside now. That should stick. Wadge fighting back, not letting that go, as Jack is joining them for company now as the 2 fight. So he's looking to get his wrong-coloured Ferrari up into the podium points at the minute. Wadge, a little bit of contact there. Jack getting the elbows out as they come through. Tibby has got Snarling for company, but he'll be eyeing up this action at the front. Bruce has pulled out a 2.6 second to Linga Bazinga already. He's absolutely flying, looking to get this done as quickly as possible, as much breathing space as he can afford. The more breathing space, the less flying he's doing, the more he can manage his tyres to the end. Wadge going up the inside on the final corner. That would probably give Linga the run on the straight up into turn 1, but Jack has blocked it off. So Jack is going to hold the inside onto both cars potentially on that Ferrari if he's got the legs to make it. Looks like Linga's going to get caught up behind Wadge into turn 1. So this is Jack's to make now or never move. You see Tibby starting to get on the back now. He's leaving Snarling behind. These guys not leaving each other alone. Tibby running a little wide there. Collects a board marker just for good measure. They're not as soft as you think. That will cause a little bit of damage if you're not careful. Jack de Mendes looks like he's actually trying to put out a little bit of a gap in a minute. So has got through and is making headway as Linga and Wadge continue to battle it out. It seems like every corner they're changing places. As we come into the final complex, so TGS looks like he's setting up a little move there. Was going really wide on the track. I wonder if he's going to try and get underneath Chris there. He is cutting it tight, going to try and get a better run around here. As you can see, he closes up the gap, so Blankfile gets the move done. He's now in front of Chris. Chris is sitting in the middle, and we can see TGS getting up the inside on the final corner. Can he make that stick as Chris gets back underneath? TGS could be unlucky here and fall foul to that massive Lamborghini engine. And also, we'll be getting the draft from Blankfile, but won't be able to pull out as Chris has got him pinned in as they swap coming into turn one. TGS backs out a little bit. Great driving from these guys, keeping it all clean. Quite some options in this fast section. This is going to be a real difficult place to overtake. You can see him. He's going to try to set this up now. He's going to try and get up underneath here, but this corner just snaps really tightly towards the end. And if you get it wrong, you can really cause an accident under braking. You end up losing so much speed doing that, though, that you never get the run that you'd like into this long sweeping left-hander. As we can see here, Timmy takes the place back. Snarling with a great run onto the back straight there, side by side as they come down into the tight hairpin. Timmy's on the inside, so Snarling's going to be going the long way round if he's going to be doing it. Last of the late breakers, who is it? Looks like it's Timmy. Can he make it stick? He runs a little bit wide. Snarling getting back onto the outside, should get a better run on the exit of this corner, ready for another tight right-hander. So Snarling still on the inside, Timmy on the outside now. These guys swapping and changing. As you can see, Snarling force himself through Timmy. Immortalis and Blankfile both getting caught up in a turn one incident. It looked like just going 4 into 1 doesn't reach, and people getting spin round and collected. So they're doing a bit of a cover drive, probably a little bit of damage just for good measure. Immortalis did pit, I believe, so he's had pitted and has worked his way back up. Looks like he's going to try and get the legs into turn one again. This is where they had issue on lap one. Immortalis thinking better of it and just staying in line for the time being, biding his time, nice and patient, which is not normally what we see from Immortalis. Normally super aggressive all the time, maximum attack, which is why he's normally good fun to watch. You see Blankfile get a little bit wide there. Immortalis will be looking to capitalise on that. Is he going to try and go up the inside into this sharp right-hander? He is. Blank's going to have to be very careful not turning in and snapping the nose off. Immortalis forcing himself through there, elbows out. Is Blank still going to keep the run on the inside? If Immortalis can hang it on, he should have the better run on the exit. And he is. Great brave move from him, capitalising on the smallest of mistakes from Blankfile. Jack has an absolute flawless drive, has had issue on the absolute final lap, been ripped away from him. Wadge looked like he's going to secure it, provided he can just navigate these final 2 corners. I suspect we're going to hear about this one. What an upset. Nothing going to be done here. Bruce crosses the line for the win. An absolute monster of a drive from him. Took it from the start, put it on pole in qualifying, and drove away in the race. Wadge holds on to second place from Jack, who gets third for his efforts. Snarling Bongo coming across the line in fourth. Tibby in fifth. Tibby not able to get that move done in the end. Sixth comes from Immortalis, a good recovery drive from him after having a little bit of an incident earlier on. Blankfile comes out in seventh. He won't be happy with that one. A lot of tinkering, a lot of setup is probably going to happen to that Bentley. It'll probably look very different coming into next week. There we have it. Race 1 of the GT3 is complete. Bruce kicking off his campaign for that top spot in style, getting that Janetta on pole in qualifying. He'll get an extra point for that, and taking the win in the race. And it looks like he bagged himself the fastest lap point as well. So all points going to Bruce Law. A good showing from him. Wadge takes home in second, just beating Jack de Mendes to the end. But with time penalties playing in, it probably could have gone that way anyway. Jack getting his Ferrari, both of these faces actually new to the GT3 season, but Jack getting himself onto the podium, he'll get a little taste of champagne too in his Ferrari. Good drive from him, great consistency. just falling foul just a little bit at the end. Snarling gets himself into 4th place, unable to keep up and just hang on to the back of the top 2, the back of Wadge and Jack. So we expect to see him get a little bit quicker last season, but still a great showing for him in that McLaren. Tibby takes home 5th. Immortalis recovers back to 6th place after his damage, with blank file for company for most of that race. TGS gets the M6 into 8th. CDN eventually gets around Survivor and takes home 9th. Chris rounding out the top 10. Survivor comes home in 11th place. Again, we saw him doing really well, hanging on to the 9th spot, but in the last lap seemed to have a little bit more damage, maybe a spin. Could be a steward's inquiry for him, but he's gifted with 11th place for his efforts. Dr. Potford down in 12th place. We expect to see that change in the coming races. Linga Bazinga in 13th. Again, another recovery drive for Linga. Green Gaming in 14th. Flush in 15th. And Maze Gamer was another great showing, who we lost to disconnections. So, that has been round 1 of the GT3s. Thank you all for joining me. I've been your host, The Console. Next week we go to Zhuhai. Another tricky track. Super bumpy, super quick, and potentially super hot as well if the weather goes that way. Could also be super wet. We will wait and see. The whole GT3 season is going around the APAC continent, so we've got Dubai, Zhuhai, Japan, Australia and New Zealand to visit just yet, so a variety of weathers to be coming in. Don't forget to go join Murphy on Tuesday at 8 o'clock for the touring cars. Another great race due for him at Snetterton 200, so in the freezing cold and also super bumpy. Thank you all for joining us, and I'll see you next week. Thank you and good night.